What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Again, I think main events NBC they put together a hell of a card tonight. I really thoroughly enjoyed myself, and the best thing is you didn't even have to have premium cable to watch this. So hopefully you guys tuned in. If not, you missed some good shit, or at least hopefully you DVR'd it or can find it online. Um, just great fights. I already talked about the Curtis Stevens and Toriano Johnson fight. I want to give my post-fight thoughts on Steve USS Cunningham versus Amir Mansour. And another great fight. This was a classic boxer versus puncher type of affair. And it just reaffirms and kind of reestablishes the faith in the sweet science that you could be the better puncher, you could be the more powerful guy in there, but it's all about technique and it's all about fundamentals. And this is a prime example of that. Close fight. It wasn't by any means uh, one-sided or lopsided fight, anything like that. But it was a feel-good fight to me because you got a guy who was outgunned in terms of firepower by Mansour, and that was Steve Cunningham. Also, he was coming off a bad loss to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, another big heavyweight. Um, he was leaning on Cunningham a lot, putting his body weight on him, and just broke him down over time, and then was able to get him out of there. So he's coming off a bad loss. He's taken knockout losses before, and then he was in there against a monstrous puncher. Now the thing with Mansour, he's game. Like I like him because he's game, and he was undefeated, and he came ready to fight. I like his willingness, if you will. He was a come forward guy. It's like I said, it reaffirms and reestablishes the true belief that if you're a good, talented boxer, you can overcome power. I think Timothy Bradley showed that in the Ruslan Provodnikov. And just for the record, I also think, as far as the brawlers, Ruslan Provodnikov is perhaps one of the top brawlers in the game in terms of actual brawlers who are effective with that pressure power style. I think Ruslan, he's the problem. Everybody that's fought him has had problems. Mauricio Herrera, someone who showed he can be slick in the fight with Danny Garcia, he was lumped up after the fight. Timothy Bradley went through hell, and Timothy Bradley also in his fight with Ruslan Provodnikov showed that with boxing anything's possible. You can be hurt, and a lot of these guys with the monstrous power, they rely so much on their power. They're looking for that as their way out. This is their ticket. So when someone gets back up from it and shows the heart that Cunningham showed, then it becomes a different fight and another issue. To me personally, in the fifth round, I think it was when Cunningham got dropped twice. I was like, "Fuck! It's Rhapsody the basement. This is over. There's no way." And he was saved by the bell. There's only a little bit of time in the round. Then he made it, narrowly escaped out of that round. Got knocked down. He was badly hurt. One thing I like about Mansour is he doubled up with his hook, and he just caught him, and that was just able. He was able to knock him down with that. So to me, when I'm watching him, when I'm watching live, I'm like, no way. There's no way in round six he doesn't get overwhelmed and either knocked out or TKO'd. But to my surprise, this is boxing, and that's what I love. I mean, these Philly guys, these Philly fucking fighters, man. It's just like the movie Rocky. You can never count them out because that heart, that's something that you can't grow. You know what I mean? You can't go to the gym and work on your heart. Either you had heart and you have that courage to not give up and quit in fights, and you're courageous, or you're not. You know what I mean? It's like you're born with it or you aren't. And Cunningham showed just that. He showed he's Philly. He showed he did Philly proud. You know what I mean? Because he got back up from those two knockdowns and went to outbox Mansour. And where Mansour I think fucked up is you had your man hurt, and it was almost like a gift and a curse. It was a gift because you made it a 7-10 round or whatnot, and you showed you can hurt him. But it was also a curse because based on that, I think from that point on, his game plan was to overwhelm and land that money shot. Like I even put on Twitter, he was like stalking him with his hand cocked back, loaded. Kind of like if you watch the Randall Bailey versus Devin Alexander. Randall Bailey, another devastating puncher. Randall Bailey has that right hand from hell, and if you get caught with it, you're going night night. So Mansour, he fell in love with his power instead of using boxing fundamentals and trying to set something up, like set up a jab or you know what I mean, feint or whatever to get Cunningham to get caught and run into something. He was just kind of like stalking him and running in. Probably punched himself out. He looked fatigued in certain rounds, and it was during those rounds Cunningham was able to regroup, get his legs back under him enough to box and win the fight. And he was just closing Mansour's eyes. So I have no problem watching both fighters. Both fighters had a valiant effort. It was a good fight. It was a very close fight, and it's good. It's good to see the underdog or the fighter with less power just use basics and make it out of there. And like I said, for Mansour, I think he just, I don't know. I think maybe he needs a new trainer. He needs someone who's gonna kind of go over, like even a Floyd Mayweather Sr., somebody who's gonna go over Joel Diaz, anybody like that. Someone who's gonna kind of give you the full spectrum. A Robert Garcia would also be another option for him, or even a Freddie Roach. Any of those dudes, I think, will be able to hone, because Mansour, he has this raw, untapped power. Like you could tell, he's a powerful dude and he's explosive, and you know what I mean. He throws with bad intentions, but you have to learn to channel that. Kind of like if you ever seen the Incredible Hulk movie with Edward Norton, he would get so angry when he turns to Hulk. In the movie, they kind of focused on Edward Norton channeling that anger and learning how, even though you're mad and he was pissed off and he was going to turn into the Hulk, he had to learn how to suppress that. And I think there's a lot of power punchers that get like that. They have to learn how to suppress that urge to merely just try to take someone's head off and headhunt. And another thing, watch the great Roy Jones Jr. He always talks about this. I forgot what fight it was, but he was calling the fight. He was doing the commentary, and he was like, "You can recover from a headshot, but a body shot that'll get you each and every time." And that's absolutely right. These guys with power, a lot of them headhunt, and you might be able to clear your head. Going to the body, there's nothing you could do. It'll almost paralyze you. So if you have power and you invest to that body, that's where your success will come, instead of headhunting and you're not getting the job done and you keep headhunting. It just doesn't make any sense. So I think Mansour, again, I would love to see him again. I don't mind watching him fight, but he's going to have a problem with the other heavyweights, the people who are more skilled, that can take a punch, because you could just circle around him and move around him. And he was swinging in there. He was swinging wildly. That exerts a lot of energy when you're swinging reckless and you don't connect with your target. So I think Mike Tyson is partly to blame. Mike Tyson has this aura about him. People watch the Tyson highlights, and he's known for that natural, raw strength and power. So people grow up and idolize Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was one of my favorite fighters, if not my favorite fighter at the time. Him and Roy Jones Jr., I would say, in the 80s and 90s, just because Tyson was always money, he's always entertaining, even in his losses. But the thing with Tyson that a lot of people overlook for whatever reason is, not only was Tyson, like, Tyson wasn't really even a brawler. People who have that devastating knockout power automatically get typecast as a brawler. Like, oh, that's a brawler. Tyson was very effective. I've seen him duck, bob and weave, slip punches, squat down, use great head movement, set things up. He had a lot of speed, especially for a heavyweight. His body type was very compact. He had a lot of power in his legs. Like if you look at his legs, they look like fucking tree trunks. I mean, there's a lot that Tyson embodied in his early work with Custom Motto, especially, gave him a lot of fundamentals of boxing. And he would give you angles and just, you know what I mean? He would jab, he would hook to the body, then hook to the head. Like just certain things that you might take for granted, you might overlook that he's doing that. Like, oh, why the fuck did he just throw a hook to the body and then a hook to the head right after, or hook to the head then hook to the body? You might overlook those things, but those were things that Tyson was doing. A lot of people focus on the knockout itself, but they failed to look at how he set that up. You know what I mean? What did he do? He had that weird peekaboo style, and then he had the intimidation factor. So there's a lot of different factors and the variables that made Tyson Tyson. And I think a lot of guys come up through the ranks and they're known for power, and they're going in there expecting to do minimal and get these guys out of there. And it doesn't work like that, especially if you get someone who's decent with the sweet science and knows how to neutralize or time you and, you know what I mean, tag you and pick you off. So overall, it was a great fight. It was a great card. Stevenson and Toriano Johnson, this fight with Cunningham and Mansour. I really don't see as much as I was happy for Cunningham and his victory, especially coming off the Tyson Fury loss, I don't really see him being really successful against the top guys at heavyweight. That's my honest opinion. He's tough. He's a Philly fighter, but he was badly hurt in the Tyson Fury fight, badly hurt in this fight. I don't see how he would be able to withstand someone like a Deontay Wilder, who he can be wild at times too, but I think his accuracy is a little bit better than um, Mansour was in there, and he has long arms, and that's another thing. Mansour, if you look at him, he's very short. He has those kind of like T-Rex arms, and he's shorter. He was much shorter than Cunningham versus Deontay Wilder, who's going to be bigger than Cunningham, both in weight and in height and reach. Deontay Wilder's 6'7". So where Mansour, you could kind of telegraph his punches because he's swinging wildly, it's not going to be the same like trajectory or same angle when you got someone like Deontay Wilder who can throw an even more looping shot because he has long ass arms and he's athletic. So different fight. Even a guy with like Bermain Stavern, someone with power who has that slick style. I see all those guys being a problem for Cunningham, but props to him on his win. It was very impressive, and it showed that boxing has a ton of heart. And these guys have heart. Like, people always make memes and videos and shit about fighters when they taste defeat, but you got to give it credit. I mean, Mansour, his eye was shutting. Cunningham got dropped twice, was coming off a knockout loss. He could have just said, you know what, I'm collecting a payday. I'm going to quit. You know what I mean? He could have did the Tor Hammer approach, but he didn't do that. He kept fighting. He bit down and went on to win this fight, and he won it via decision. And he even dropped Mansour in the final round, which was unexpected for me. So a good fight. I think Mansour just needs to work on like fundamentals and like being a little bit more less wild, I guess you could say, cutting off the ring better and utilizing his power to the best of his ability, kind of like what Tyson would do. Tyson not only had the power, but he did a lot of other things right. So great fight, great card. I don't really see either fighter being the cream of the crop at the heavyweight division, but this fight was an entertaining one. Let me know what you guys think. Cunningham versus Mansour. Was it a good fight? Did you like it? Did you watch it? Let me know. Leave a comment. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.